Getting rich seems complicated, distant, almost impossible. But Florence Scovel Shinn shows us that the difficulty lies only in the mind. Prosperity is not a mystery reserved for the few. It is a divine cycle, accessible to those who understand and apply the correct principles. Today you will discover how to transform thoughts into wealth, words into open doors, and actions into abundant harvests. Stay with me until the end, because what seems difficult really isn't. Chapter 1. The Illusion of Difficulty. Breaking the myth that getting rich is impossible. How many times have you heard someone say, "Getting rich is for the lucky few," or "You only make it big with a silver spoon or a stroke of luck"? These phrases, echoed across generations, have spun a myth that prosperity is some unreachable peak. But Florence Scovel Shinn flips that script. The real struggle isn't out there, it's in our heads. The true roadblock isn't money. It's the deep-seated belief that it's scarce, dirty, or just plain out of reach. Picture a kid learning to walk. They stumble, fall, and get back up, never once muttering, "Walking's impossible." They keep at it until they're running. But as adults, when it comes to money, we freeze. We tell ourselves, "It's too hard, it's not for me." That mindset turns opportunities into brick walls. Florence put it perfectly. A person can only receive what they see themselves receiving. If all you see is struggle, guess what? Struggle's what you get. The Bible backs this up in Proverbs 23 verse 7. As a person thinks in their heart, so they are. If you see yourself as stuck, you're stuck. But if you start seeing yourself thriving, doors begin to crack open. The idea that wealth is hard is just a veil over the eyes of faith. Prosperity was never meant to be an exclusive club. The sun rises for everyone. The rain waters the rich man's field and the poor man's alike. What sets people apart is their approach to life. Some think it's all about grinding it out. But haven't you seen folks working dawn to dusk, drowning in debt? Hard work without the right mindset just leaves you exhausted, not wealthy. Florence reveals the real key: aligning your mind, your words, and your actions. The universe doesn't respond to desperate hustle. It vibes with those who believe abundance is their birthright. The difficulty we're taught to fear. It's a cultural construct. From childhood, we're fed lines like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," "Life's a struggle," or "Rich people must have cheated to get there." Those are seeds of scarcity, sprouting into forests of limitation. Now, flip that around. When you break free from those beliefs, you start noticing doors that were always there. A forgotten talent could become your cash flow. A simple idea might spark a business. A random connection could lead to game-changing partnerships. It was all right in front of you. You just couldn't see it because your mind was clouded by the myth of "it's too hard." Think about Joseph in Egypt. Sold as a slave, thrown in prison, his odds looked grim. But his vision was all about abundance. He trusted God's promise, and that faith pulled wealth and honor his way. Joseph didn't see obstacles. He saw purpose. Want to shatter this myth today? Start by asking yourself, what phrases have I been repeating that keep wealth at arm's length? Drop one of those old limiting sayings in the comments, something you grew up hearing but now choose to let go of. This isn't just a thought exercise. It's a bold step toward freedom, Florence said. No one fails who follows the intuition of their soul. The only real difficulty comes from walking against your true essence. If you believe getting rich is impossible, you're fighting the divine law of abundance. But when you embrace that prosperity is part of God's plan, you start flowing with the universe's natural rhythm. Oh, rip that veil off today. It's not about making some impossible leap. It's about flipping a switch in your mind. Wealth isn't hard. It's a natural outcome. The difficulty is just an illusion keeping too many people from their promised abundance. Ready to take the first step? Declare it right now in the comments. I believe in divine abundance. Make it a statement of faith. By doing this, you're not just reading words. You're kickstarting the cycle of prosperity in your life. Chapter 2: Thoughts of Abundance. The mind as the cradle of wealth. If life is a garden, your mind is the soil. Whatever you plant there, sooner or later, it blooms. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that the power of words lies in the imagination, and imagination shapes reality. Every bit of wealth you see around you starts as an invisible seed in your thoughts. Your mind is the true cradle of riches. Here's the kicker most people miss. Just like fertile soil can grow wheat or weeds, your mind can sprout abundance or scarcity. What's been taking root in your thoughts lately? Bills piling up, past failures, endless debts. That's exactly what you're watering in the unseen garden of your life. The Bible lays it out clearly in Romans 12 verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Paul wasn't preaching religion. He was talking mindset. Real change starts when you rewire how you think. If you believe prosperity is a sin, you'll stay caged. But if you see it as a divine blessing, you'll start attracting a whole new set of possibilities. Look at Nehemiah. Before he rebuilt Jerusalem's walls, he rebuilt them in his mind. His prayers, his tears, his vision, they were seeds planted long before the first stone was laid. If he'd fixated on the rubble, he'd have given up. But his imagination was brimming with what could be, not what was. The same goes for you. If your mind's stuck on impossible, every door feels locked. But if you start cultivating visions of abundance, you'll spot paths where you once saw only desert. Florence nailed it. The enemy is always a misused imagination. It's not a lack of opportunities. It's fear-driven thinking that clogs the flow. You might be wondering, how am I supposed to think about wealth when all I see is debt? That's exactly where the magic happens. Faith is about trusting in the unseen before it becomes real. Hebrews 11 verse 1 puts it perfectly. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If you only believe when you see it, that's not faith. It's just stating the obvious. Here's a practical step. Start picturing your abundant life. See yourself paying bills with ease. Imagine helping others, traveling, investing, living fearlessly. Write down daily affirmations to anchor that vision. The universe is rich, and I'm part of that wealth. This isn't wishful thinking. It's training your mind to tune into the divine flow. And here's a challenge for you. Drop a comment with one abundance affirmation you're claiming today. Something simple like, I am provided for in all things, or divine wealth flows through my life now. Your words are the key that unlocks the door to creative thought. The trick is swapping out repetitive scarcity thoughts for vivid images of fullness. It's not about denying your current reality. It's about changing the lens you view it through. Just like an architect sees a finished building before the first brick, you've got to see your prosperity before it shows up. Florence reminded us, don't worry about the appearance of things, trust in the appearance of God. The world screams crisis, lack, recession. But inside you, there's a garden waiting for new seeds. Decide today that your thoughts won't be a storehouse for fear. They'll be a greenhouse for faith. Here's the bottom line. Your mind is the cradle, but you're the gardener. If you don't plant anything, weeds take over. Plant scarcity, and you'll harvest limits. Plant abundance, and you'll reap riches. The choice is daily, and the cycle is unstoppable. Chapter 3. The Hidden Power of Words. Decree to Prosper. Words aren't just sounds tossed into the wind. They're spiritual codes that shape reality. Florence Scovel Shinn put it like this. You can change your destiny with the words you speak. Whatever you declare with faith, the universe confirms. That's the hidden power most people miss. Speaking isn't just talking. It's unleashing creative energy that takes form. This principle goes back to Genesis. God created the world by saying, "Let there be light." He didn't just think it or wish it, he spoke. His words gave shape to the invisible. That divine pattern lives in us. Your words are seeds. Every time you say, "I can never pay my bills," you're planting scarcity. When you mutter, "Everything always goes wrong," you're signing a spiritual contract with failure. The Bible warns in Proverbs 18 verse 21, "The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit." Your mouth can be a factory of abundance or a graveyard for dreams. So what's your factory producing? Take Nehemiah. Before rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, he boldly told the king, "The God of heaven will give us success." Nehemiah 2 verse 20. No maybe or I hope it works out. He declared it with unshakable conviction. That spoken certainty created a ripple effect, inspiring everyone around him to raise those walls. Words set the vibe that changes everything. Florence urged her students to use daily affirmations like, "Divine riches flow freely into my life, and nothing can stop them." It's not magic, it's spiritual law. Words spoken with faith become an invisible magnet. Some might ask, isn't it lying to claim prosperity when I'm broke? Well, the real lie is accepting limitation as your identity. Declaring abundance doesn't deny your current reality. It affirms the higher truth already waiting in potential. Faith calls into being what isn't yet seen. Romans 4 verse 17. Here's a practical challenge. For 1 week, swap every negative phrase for a powerful declaration. Instead of "I can't take it anymore," say, "I'm sustained by divine abundance." Replace "I'll never make it" with "Everything works together for my success." You'll be amazed at the shift in energy. And here's a bold move. If you believe words carry power, subscribe to the channel right now. It's a simple act that declares, "I'm choosing to live in the flow of abundance." Your subscription is a visible seal of an invisible decree. Think of a gardener. If they plant daily, the harvest is guaranteed. But if they sow today and rip up the seeds tomorrow with doubt, they'll never see fruit. It's the same with words. Your declarations only work if you stick with them, even when life looks rough. Florence said it best. Don't ask to see, declare it as if it's already done. That's faith. Too many block prosperity because they want to see the money in the bank before they believe. But spiritual law works the other way. Speak first and life follows. Oh, say it with me. I am a magnet for divine wealth. Everything I need finds me at the perfect time. Abundance flows to me effortlessly. If those words stir something in you, drop a powerful declaration in the comments, one that'll be your anchor from today forward. Your mouth is the pen that writes your destiny. Don't hand your life over to words of fear. Use your voice like a key to unlock invisible doors. The universe can't resist a soul that speaks with conviction. Chapter 4. Faith that moves. Taking action even without seeing immediate results. True faith is never static. It shows itself through action, even when your eyes can't see the proof. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that people often freeze because they want a guarantee before they move. But spiritual law works the other way. You take the step first and then the path appears. It's like crossing a foggy bridge. You can't see the other side, but you trust and keep walking. The Bible is full of examples. Take Abraham. God promised him a land but didn't hand him a detailed map. The command was clear. Leave your country for the land I will show you. Genesis 12 verse 1. In other words, obey first, discover later. If Abraham had waited to see the whole route, he'd never have become the father of faith. Then there's Peter, walking on water. Matthew 14 verse 29. He only experienced the miracle because he stepped out of the boat. If he'd waited for the water to turn solid, he'd still be sitting there. Faith means betting on the promise, not on logic. Florence put it this way. Action is the bridge between words and manifestation. Declaring abundance is powerful, but it needs to be backed by small, aligned steps. If you say, "I am prosperous," but stay paralyzed by fear, you're contradicting your own words. Your declarations set the vibe, but your actions open the door. And don't think action means taking giant leaps. Sometimes it's simple. Sending that resume, making that call, starting that course, or spending an hour on the project you keep putting off. The universe responds to signals, not stagnant intentions. You might wonder, what if I act and nothing happens? That's the heart of it. Faith that moves doesn't hinge on instant results. It acts because it trusts the work is already done in the unseen. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's sprouting. You plant, water, and wait. When Nehemiah started rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, Mockers called it a lost cause, saying the burned stones could never become a fortress again. But he shot back, "The God of heaven will give us success, and we, his servants, will rise up and build." Nehemiah 2 verse 20. He took action despite the critics and finished the job in record time. Here's the key. When you move in faith, you attract invisible resources. Opportunities that seem like coincidences are actually divine alignments. One small step can spark connections you'd never find sitting still. Florence urged her students to repeat, "What is mine by divine right already belongs to me and manifests now, perfectly and harmoniously." But she also stressed, after you say it, take the next step within your reach, no matter how small. Movement unleashes energy, so I'm asking you, what's one faith-filled step you need to take today? It might be simple, but it's powerful. Drop it in the comments. What action are you committing to this week? Writing it down is already a pledge to the universe. And if this message is sparking clarity for you, hit that subscribe button now. That click is a step of faith, a signal that says, I'm not standing still. I'm moving toward abundance. The invisible responds to visible action. Faith that only waits turns into passivity. Faith that moves carves paths where there were no roads. Chapter 5. Accepting without fear. Making room for money to arrive. One of the biggest blocks to prosperity isn't about working harder or chasing opportunities. It's about accepting what life is trying to hand you. Sounds simple, but so many push away blessings out of fear, guilt, or old beliefs. Florence Scovel Shinn said it best. It's not enough to ask. You have to be willing to receive. How many times have you prayed, declared, or visualized abundance? But when an opportunity showed up, you hesitated. Maybe you thought, I'm not good enough. This is too big for me. Or what if I fail? That's fear in disguise, slamming shut doors that heaven opened. The Bible lays this out in the parable of the talents, Matthew 25 verses 14 to 30. The servant with 1 talent buried it, not because he couldn't handle it, but because he was afraid. He said, Master, I was afraid and hid your talent. The result? He lost even the little he had. Meanwhile, those who dared to multiply their talents were rewarded with abundance. Fear paralyzes. Trust expands. Receiving money also means letting go of guilt. Too many carry the idea that prosperity is selfish or that wealth is sinful. But Scripture is clear. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Psalm 23 verse 1. There's no lack in God's promise. The only lack comes from a heart that believes it doesn't deserve. Florence drove this home. Eternal life means fullness in every area, including finances. Accepting without fear is like telling the universe, I'm ready. It's like opening a window to let the breeze in. It was already blowing, but you had to make the move. Practically, this means stopping yourself from rejecting opportunities out of insecurity. How many invitations, partnerships, ideas, or deals have you turned down without even considering them? Those could have been answers to your prayers. When you resist, you're telling your subconscious, I'm not ready. And the result? More scarcity. Receiving also requires emotional and mental space. If your mind is cluttered with complaints, worries, or defeatist thoughts, there's no room for abundance to settle in. It's like trying to pour clean water into a cup already overflowing with mud. You've got to empty it first. Start practicing phrases of openness like Florence taught. I accept without fear the gifts life has for me. Say it daily with conviction. Picture yourself receiving without hesitation, smiling, saying, Thank you. That mindset creates a field of permission, and life responds. And here's the thing. Accepting isn't greed. It's just aligning with the natural flow. Think of a child getting a gift from their parents. They don't push it away thinking it's too much. They tear it open with joy. That's how you should approach divine blessings. Oh, I'm asking you. Are you letting yourself receive? Or are you burying your talents like the servant in the parable? Drop a comment with one area of your life where you feel you need to make more room for prosperity. Writing it down is already a step toward accepting. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Every new video is like a key handed to you. Refusing it is like keeping the door locked. Hit the bell and let new truths flow your way. Accepting without fear is saying, I'm ready. Allow. I receive. That's the key that turns prayers into harvests. Chapter 6. Biblical Examples. Solomon, the widow of Zarephath, and the unexpected multiplication. When we talk about prosperity, we can't overlook the timeless examples the Bible gives us, living proof of abundance in action. These aren't just old stories. They're vivid signs that God moves in practical, unexpected, and often mind-blowing ways. Florence Scovel Shinn put it perfectly. God's imagination has no limits. What you call impossible is just the starting point for him. Take Solomon, for example. As a young king, he inherited a throne loaded with challenges. He could have asked for riches, military victories, or a long life. Instead, he chose wisdom. And God, moved by that request, said, I'll also give you wealth and honor like no king before you. 1 Kings 3 verse 13. Solomon's secret. He knew real prosperity starts from within. He didn't chase treasures. He aligned with the Creator. And as a result, wealth chased him. Then there's the widow of Zarephath in 1 Kings 17. She was staring down starvation, with just a handful of flour left for her and her son's final meal. To human eyes it was game over. But God sent the prophet Elijah, who asked for the one thing she could least afford to give, that tiny bit of food. When she obeyed, she discovered scarcity was just an illusion. Her flour and oil never ran out. The miracle didn't start with visible abundance. It began with her faith to share her almost nothing. Jesus showed the same truth in John 6. A hungry crowd was fed from a boy's simple offering of 5 loaves and 2 fish. Human math said, no way. Divine math said, there's leftovers. That small lunch became a feast for thousands. These stories teach us something crucial. Prosperity always involves a spiritual exchange. Solomon offered his pure intent to serve. The widow gave her last scraps. The boy handed over his lunch. In each case, trusting and giving opened the door for the impossible to show up. Florence said it like this: God needs a channel to work through. When you offer something, even if it's small, you open the door for miracles. That's what we need to reclaim today. You don't need a lot to start, you just need to release what you already have. Time, talent, gratitude, service, generosity. Think about it. How often have you held back because you thought you didn't have enough to give? Maybe you're waiting to have enough before you act. But the Bible is clear. Multiplication happens through the motion of faith. What feels like too little in your hands can become abundant in God's. Here's something to ponder. Which of these stories hits home for you? Solomon, who sought wisdom, the widow, who trusted the impossible, or the boy, who gave without overthinking? Drop it in the comments. Your choice reveals a lot about how you see prosperity. And if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, now's the moment. Every story we share is like a seed planted in your mind. When you stay connected, you're watering the soil of your life daily to reap abundance. The lesson is crystal clear. Prosperity isn't just about receiving, it's about making space to give. That's the attitude that pulls in the unexpected. Chapter 7. The Invisible Thieves. Beliefs and phrases that keep you from prosperity. Many people think losing money only happens because of bad financial choices or unexpected setbacks. But according to Florence Scovel Shinn, the biggest thief of prosperity isn't in your bank account, the stock market, or the economy. It's in your mind. She said, poverty and lack are created first in thought, fueled by words, and then confirmed in experience. These invisible thieves disguise themselves as everyday phrases we toss around without thinking. How often have you said or heard, money doesn't buy happiness, you have to bleed sweat to get anywhere, or that's not for people like us? They seem harmless, but these words carry powerful decrees. The Bible reminds us in Proverbs 18 verse 21, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Every word you speak is a seed planted in the soil of the unseen. These beliefs act like invisible chains. You can work hard, have great ideas, even stumble on opportunities, but if deep down you believe "I don't deserve it" or "everything's too hard," you'll unconsciously sabotage your own chances. It's like trying to fill a bucket with holes. Solomon, the richest man of his time, wrote, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." Proverbs 23 verse 7. Your outer reality mirrors your inner picture. If you see yourself as always limited, you'll live out limitations. But if you see yourself as a child of an abundant God, you make room for miracles. Florence guided her students to take stock of the phrases they use daily. Words like "I can't," "it's impossible," or "I'm not lucky" had to be replaced immediately with powerful declarations. "Everything that's mine by divine right now belongs to me," or "I'm a magnet for opportunities because I trust in God's infinite source." Here's a real-life example. A woman used to constantly say, "Everything goes wrong for me." And sure enough, she lost jobs, relationships, and deals. When she discovered Florence's teachings, she switched her mantra to, "Everything works together for my good. Every situation brings me closer to prosperity." Within months, she landed a better job and noticed even the people around her started acting differently. That wasn't luck. It was realignment with the word. These invisible thieves only survive because they go unnoticed. Today, I'm inviting you to pay close attention to what comes out of your mouth. Picture yourself as a gardener. Every phrase is a seed. Ask yourself, is this phrase growing abundance or scarcity? If it's negative, swap it out right away. Now, I want to hear from you. What's one phrase you've repeated that might be draining your prosperity? Share it in the comments. That act of sharing can set others free too. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. Each new video is like a key to unlock the hidden chains in your mind. It equips you with spiritual tools to claim the abundance that's already yours by divine inheritance. Florence said it best. The most dangerous enemy isn't outside. It's the inner voice that keeps repeating the lie of limitation. Let today be the day you silence those invisible thieves and choose to declare only life, light, and prosperity. Chapter 8. Wise Perseverance. Repeating the cycle until the harvest blooms. On the road to prosperity, many give up, not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they can't handle the weight. They want to plant today and harvest tomorrow. Yet both the Bible and Florence Scovel Shinn teach that there's a divine cycle for everything, and the harvest always comes at the right time, as long as the farmer doesn't abandon the field. Paul wrote to the Galatians, 6:9, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap, if we do not give up." That's the heart of wise perseverance. Not blindly pushing forward, but faithfully repeating what you know is true, trusting that each step is a drop filling the cup of manifestation. Florence said, "Persistent faith breaks through the wall of doubt." She likened decrees and prayers to seeds watered daily. You might not see growth right away, but in the unseen, roots are spreading, preparing the ground for a breakthrough. Look at the widow who pestered the unjust judge. Luke 18 verses 1-8. She didn't quit until she got justice. Jesus used her story to show that persistent prayer brings results, even when circumstances look bleak. The same applies to finances. Repeating decrees of abundance, staying grateful, and acting in faith, even when your bank account feels empty, aligns you with the divine harvest cycle. One story from Florence's follower stands out. A woman repeated daily, "Wealth, health, and love belong to me by divine right." First, nothing happened. Months later, opportunities started flowing. An unexpected raise, new clients, professional invitations. The cycle completed itself, not because she forced it, but because she persisted without giving in to discouragement. Let's be clear. Wise perseverance isn't stubbornness. It's moving with discernment. A closed door isn't failure, it's redirection. Nehemiah faced mockers and enemies while rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, but he didn't quit. He knew his work was from God, so he kept going until it was done. The wisdom lies in repeating the cycle without losing peace. Persevering with anxiety produces nothing but exhaustion. But persevering with trust is like a farmer who plants, waters, and knows the harvest season will come. He doesn't lie awake worrying if the wheat will grow. He rests in the certainty of the process. Here's my invitation. Have you ever ditched a dream because it seemed to take too long? Share it in the comments. Maybe revisiting that dream will show you it just needed a bit more wise perseverance to bloom. If this message resonates, subscribe to the channel now. Every video here is a reminder that giving up is never an option for those walking in faith. Florence summed it up in a timeless truth. It's not about repeating to convince God, but to convince yourself that the victory is already yours. Keep watering, keep repeating, and soon the harvest will be inevitable. Chapter 9. Gratitude that opens safes. Celebrating before having it in hand. True wealth starts in the heart. Long before money rolls in, a promotion lands, or a business takes off, there's a quiet, powerful attitude that pulls everything toward us. Gratitude. Florence Scovel Shinn said it best. Give thanks in advance, and the universe will conspire to make your words come true. Psalm 100 verse 4 sets the stage. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and bless his name. Gratitude isn't just a feeling. It's a channel linking your mind and heart to divine abundance. Celebrating before you hold it in your hands tunes you into the frequency of prosperity, unlocking invisible vaults. Picture a farmer planting seeds and thanking the heavens for the harvest before it sprouts. He can't see the wheat yet, but his trust and joy in the process prepare the soil for a bountiful yield. In the same way, thanking for what hasn't arrived yet creates an energy that draws in unexpected opportunities. Florence urged a daily habit. Write or speak aloud what you've already received and what you desire as if it's already yours. Declare, visualize, and celebrate. The law of the universe will respond to your heart's frequency, she said. Every word of preemptive gratitude is like a key, opening doors that human effort alone can't budge. The Bible backs this up. Hannah, Samuel's mother, thanked God for a child before she even conceived. 1 Samuel 1 verses 27 to 28. Her heartfelt gratitude was honored, and God granted what she celebrated in faith. This principle applies to every kind of wealth, financial, emotional, or spiritual. Here's another key. Gratitude is a shield against anxiety. When you fixate on what's missing, worry, doubt, and fear creep in. But thanking in advance keeps your mind and heart aligned with faith and prosperity. It's like saying, I trust, I celebrate, I receive. So start today. List 5 things you're already grateful for and 5 you desire as if they're already yours. Read them aloud daily. Feel the joy, celebrate each step, and watch how small opportunities start showing up, often out of nowhere. Drop in the comments at least one thing you're thanking for before it arrives. That simple act is a direct step toward opening the universe's vaults. If you want to keep learning how to turn gratitude into wealth, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Each video is an invitation to align your heart, mind, and actions with divine abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn sums it up. Give thanks first, and the universe will deliver what you've already celebrated in spirit. That's the key that separates dreamers from doers. Chapter 10. Final revelation. Wealth is not difficult, it is divine and accessible. We've reached the heart of our journey. Wealth isn't about luck, extraordinary talent, or endless grind. It's a direct reflection of harmony between your mind, heart, and God's divine will. Florence Scovel Shinn said it clearly. Wealth is an energy, a flow that opens when you align your thoughts and actions with God's law. The Bible lays it out in Proverbs 3 verses 9 to 10. Honor the Lord with your wealth, with the firstfruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with new wine. Here's the big reveal. Wealth is available to everyone, but it shines through when you honor universal spiritual principles. Faith, gratitude, conscious action, and integrity. You don't need to work yourself to the bone or chase special credentials. What turns the ordinary into extraordinary is applying consistent principles. Think abundance, speak words of power, act with courage, and receive with gratitude. Every conscious choice activates a flow that transcends human limits, opening invisible doors. Look at Joseph in Egypt, Genesis 41. Despite extreme hardship, he held fast to faith, obedience, and a clear vision. God turned adversity into prosperity, placing him at the heart of an entire nation's financial system. This shows that true wealth is divine yet accessible, hinging on alignment, not merit or manipulation. Florence Scovel Shinn taught there's no secret mystery. Clear decrees, unwavering faith, preemptive gratitude, and consistent action are the perfect gears of a spiritual machine. It's the divine cycle. Think, speak, act, receive. Each step fuels the next, and the outcome is inevitable. The power of your mind aligned with God's will is the ultimate key. Visualize prosperity, speak as if it's already yours, act decisively, and embrace what comes. The only barriers are the ones you build with doubt and fear. Paul drives it home in Philippians 4 verse 13. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Today, you know wealth isn't hard, exclusive, or tied to luck. It's a spiritual law that rewards faith, conscious effort, and gratitude. Practice daily, celebrate every win, keep your mind clear and your heart thankful. The universe conspires for those who align with this truth. Drop in the comments which step of the cycle you'll start applying today. Like if you're ready to shift your mindset and claim divine prosperity. Subscribe to keep uncovering Florence Scovel Shinn's and the Bible's secrets for lasting abundance. Florence Scovel Shinn wraps it up. Wealth is yours by divine right. Align thought, word, and action, and receive without fear, for the universe is generous to those who cooperate with its law. True wealth is not found in accumulation for the sake of accumulation, nor in exhaustive efforts or human strategies. It is divine, accessible, and manifests itself to those who align thought, word, and action with God's will. The secret lies in faith, gratitude, obedience, and constancy. Florence Scovel Shinn and the Bible show us that the flow of prosperity is natural, inevitable, and generous to those who cooperate with its spiritual laws. By applying the cycle of thinking, speaking, acting, and receiving, you transform your financial, emotional, and spiritual life. It is complete wealth. From the inside out, from top to bottom, from God to you. See you in the next video.